Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing, right? It's if you don't have the wherewithal, or you say the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, people
Yeah.
they're going to evaluate you and whatever other offers they might be getting. And if they
Right.
don't like you, you're out the door.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. So, how about you, Dennis? Are you new to the multifamily game too?
Yeah, I am. I basically my 9 to 5. I'm in the real estate 9 to 5 for the company I work for. I basically do all the new construction development. So I'm very, very familiar, but I want to start getting into the multifamily personally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just basically started looking, just taking a look at some apartment buildings here and there. But I want to sort of get more intentional and direct about it. And I mean, I got some resources to put into it, and just looking to learn more, basically.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, I think that just what I touched on a little bit before, right? It's the same sort of play. It's a lot of your success is going to be dependent on how you structure your offer, believe it or not, right? There's a whole lot of other things that has to take place ahead of time, in terms of mindset, in terms of building the right team. All that has to come into play, right? And we're not gonna, that's not the subject of tonight's discussion. Tonight's discussion is just going to be based around writing an offer, like preparing an offer for someone. Okay. So, this, like I touched on a bit ago, right? I started off in single family, right? That's what I did. That's how I got started. And the only reason why I did single family is because I had no idea what multifamily even was. Like, I had a duplex, but I just figured, it's only 2 single families, right? That's it. Fast forward to today, we got about just about 1,000 units or so. Here, I'll share a screen here with you so you guys can get a feel for what we do today. So it's like, this is the map with all those little blue dots. Are just different deals that I have that I put together. And then let's see here. Right. So we got this tower a couple of years ago. You see my screen, right, guys?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so got this tower a couple of years ago. This is the house center deal. It's about 76 units for this deal. This deal
I know that property. Yeah.
This one, closed this one. This is a 148 unit deal.
Yeah.
These are just a bunch of other little small deals that I got. There's more other little ones as well.
I'm gonna
of course, there's
into my computer.
There's the Rockefeller deal right there, right?
Oh,
Right. Beautiful.
This bad boy, when it's going to be done, is going to be $110 million. It's completed. So it's going to be freaking awesome. Yeah. This deal I'm closing on in the next, I think 2-3 weeks, something like that. It's 96 units. I got another 200 units right behind it. Another 500 unit deal might be behind that one too. So needless to say, this is only some of the deals, not even all of them. I'm not saying this to be bragging. I'm saying it because it's coming from actual experience. I'm an actual practitioner. I do this for a living, right? So part of what I'm looking to do is help you guys build some success in this as well, right? That's why I'm telling you all this, right? So, like I said, I'm a practitioner. I actually do this for a living. So there's 3 things that people really get wrong when they are putting deals together, right? They're not asking the right questions. Okay. They're looking at it from the perspective of themselves, as opposed to the perspective of the person selling. They negotiate before they make the offer. So they're negotiating, they're trying to beat the guy up. They're doing all that stuff. And you're not going to get too far doing that. All you're doing is calling his baby ugly is all you're doing ahead of time. And the third is probably the worst one of all. They're lowballing everything. And I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that many people have is that there's a lot of people that just start lowballing stuff. I'm trying to find a deal. They're going to lowball everything, right? And when you start doing stuff like that, you get no credibility whatsoever. You lose all your credibility before you even get started, right? There actually is a 4th point too. And that 4th point is when you send out LOI to everybody under the sun. right? When you start sending out LOIs to everyone, lowball LOIs, the brokers take notice. They see it. They're going to see that. They're going to see, oh my God, it's this Joe guy again, which he's throwing out a crappy offer, 20% lower than the asking price with some awful terms, and they're expecting a callback. And then what's going to happen? Those brokers, they like to talk to each other. Next thing you know, Joe's not getting any deals in that market at all, even if it's a good offer, because it's not credible.
Right.
So the information I'm sharing with you today, it works on any deal, basically, right? Whether it's $1 million, 100 million, doesn't matter, right? The same concepts I'm telling you about right now are the same concepts I used when I worked on Rockefeller, and it's the same concept I used when I did my first little deal, my first little 11-unit deal. Same thing. Even that duplex, same thing. You know.
Okay.
Who's got some noise going on in the background?
Yeah, maybe you can mute it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's good. All right. By all means, though, guys, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to chime in. Right. But what I'm going to talk about now is, aside from those steps, is we'll get into like how do you do things? Like, what do you need to do? Right. So before I go into these 3 things you should be doing, the first and foremost, all right, as a preface to the 3 points, is to use a broker. Okay. There's a variety of different reasons why you use a broker, but a broker is going to help guide you to doing the deal and doing the deal right. Okay. Now, what I'm saying though, is that you don't just use any broker. You're using a good broker that knows what they're talking about. They're experienced and they have some pull in the area, right? So meaning that in any given market, you're going to have like a top 1 or 2 brokers, right? Like in Cleveland, for instance, it's going to be Colliers. It's going to be Marcus and Millichap. Those 2 are part of a couple of the top brokers in Cleveland. If you go to Pittsburgh, it's going to be a different set of brokers, right? It's going to be 2 different brokers, right? Or 3 different brokers, right? Maybe instead of going to the top guys, you go to the second tier. That's fine too, right? Go to the second tier people. Why do you go to the second tier people? They're still good. They're still strong, but they'll also talk to you as well, especially if you're new to the business. If you're an experienced person, you can probably, those guys at the top priority know you, right? But use a broker, okay? They will help you structure the offer, and you can bounce questions off of them and tell you if whatever you're presenting is actually going to make sense to them, right? There's a third byproduct as well. You're going to pay them. It's going to cost you money. But what does a broker want? Like, why do brokers work? Well, they get paid on those commissions, right? So if you're
Right.
paying them a commission, and when another deal comes, you're successful in closing that deal, all right, because your first deal is going to be tough. I'll tell you right now, it always is. The first ones are always tough. But you successfully close that deal, that guy will come back to you. That broker will come back to you with a deal, right? So it's kind of like you're paying your way into the club, so to speak, right? They're giving you value. It isn't like you're just paying it for nothing. They're giving you value, but don't be afraid to hire a broker. You know, don't what's that saying? Don't trip over nickels to pick up pennies. You know, that kind of
Right.
thing. Don't do that. Use the broker, leverage the broker, a good broker, not a crappy one. Every market's full of crappy brokers. Stay away from those guys.
I have a question.
Yeah.
About the broker. So, how does their commission normally work? Is it a set percentage, or does it depend on?
Yeah, it's
the firm, or?
Yeah, it's usually a set percentage. Market rates. It could vary 3%, 4%, 5%. You know, that kind of thing. It's
Okay.
negotiable. You know, it's negotiable.
I was just wondering if there was like an industry standard, like normal realtors, or.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's going to vary, man. I mean, it's going to vary depending on the market. Usually, right? Generally, yeah, three is probably on the low side. You know. 6 is on the very high side, so it'll be somewhere in that range. You know, you know, it's sometimes the seller will pick up some of it. So all the stuff's negotiable. That's the thing, right?
Right. Okay.
But I think what's critical though, and this is what many people don't realize, is that the brokers are the keys to the deal. before you can even get a deal, you have to go through a broker, right? A quality deal. There's plenty of emails right now. I bet all y'all have an email from somebody right now with some multifamily. Look at this great deal, 12 cap. Yeah, super. There's a reason why it's a 12 cap. I don't want to get off topic here, but if it's in a 12 cap, it's probably in an awful area. You don't want to buy it anyway. But that's besides the point. We're not talking about that tonight. well, I'll keep that one for another discussion because, remember, the higher the cap rate, the higher the risk, right? That's what you're paying for. The higher the cap rate, the higher the risk. The lower the cap rate, the lower the risk, right? So you don't want to have a high risk deal. That's the last thing you want to get into. So, so what are you doing then when you're putting a deal together? You got to ask the right questions. Ask the right questions up front before you even get the piece of paper and a pen out or whatever it is, or you sit down at a computer to write your LOI. This is before the LOI. Okay. We're not talking even LOI just yet. We're talking about how do you write this deal? And what many people make the mistake of is that they're looking at it from their perspective. And you know what, guys? It's not about you. It's not about any of you guys on here right now, right? It's about the person selling the deal. And if you think about it like this, if I said, "Hey, Ernest, what do you want in this offer?" Right? And then he's going to basically tell me what he expects. And if I give him exactly what he wants, is he going to turn down the offer? Of course not, right? So that's the thing is though, is that you have to figure out what they want, what's important to them. You know, aside from price, they always say price. Okay, aside from price, what else do you want? They're looking for a quick close. Got to be closed by the end of the year. Okay, great. So now it's up to you to figure out how you're going to do that, right? Maybe for all you know, maybe in talking to the broker, maybe they're a fan of the Cleveland Browns, and maybe you can get Cleveland Brown tickets. Maybe you can throw that into the offer as well. Like I have season tickets or whatever, but anything, all of it is negotiable is the point, right? But first and foremost, find out what it is that they want, right? You have to understand what they're looking for in that deal. How is the deal going to get structured, right? Many people don't look at it that way. They just blindly send, I just got one just the other day, actually, an LOI from somebody totally unsolicited and, super low ball LOI with crappy terms of like, why would I even look at that deal from this person, right?
Would you mind just bringing it outside? Can you bring it outside? I'll just be right here.
No, all right. Hang on a second here. I'm gonna mute this here. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's not about you guys. Consider what the seller wants. Always consider what the seller wants. Ask those questions. What are you looking for in a deal? What do you expect to see in the deal? What sort of terms are you looking for? Okay. Then you get into the price and the terms, all right? What's acceptable to them, right? How much earnest money are they expecting, right? What is the due diligence? So typically earnest money, so if you guys don't know what earnest money is how much money are you going to put down on the deal, right, before you actually buy it. So it shows that you have some, you're getting things rolling, you have some skin in the game. So if you're going to buy a $2 million deal, you're going to put down $20,000, okay? Don't go in with some ridiculousness of like, oh yeah, here's $5,000. It's like, 1% is typically the rule of thumb. You don't go wrong with 1% up to a certain point. Like if you're doing like, a $50 million deal, it's not going to be 1%. It's going to be something like maybe 100K or something like that. That's besides the point. Generally speaking, if you're talking less than $10 million, 1% should be just fine. Just put down 1% of whatever the price is. But the due diligence and the time to close from the financial perspective is super, super important, right? Again, if you're trying to do like a 30-day, typically it's 30-day due diligence, 30 days to close, right? 60 days. Under normal circumstances, that is generally what the market will do, right? Most of the pros, that's what they're doing. These days with all this COVID stuff going on, lenders are a little bit slow. You can sometimes build in extensions in there. If you're going to put in an extension, just tell them, hey, look, I want an offer to extend for 2 weeks, and it's going to be, I'll give you an extra $5,000 for every 2 weeks that I extend, up to 2 extensions or whatever. You can build all that stuff in, but always give them something. Don't be again, this deal I just got recently, they just updated it. This is 6th time updating them. They're newbies. I don't expect them to perform on it. They want extensions on it, but they don't put up any money. It's totally unprofessional, right? That's the point of view that I have, right? You can't do that. You got to structure a deal that the person wants. And again, the key is you want them to accept that deal. You want them to accept that deal. By not doing, say, a standard thing, you're putting up a barrier in front of them. You want to try to make them to accept it as easy as possible. You want it to be easy. That's the key. You want to be easy. Then the third thing goes into, it's a reflection of the first two: confidence, right? Confidence that you can close the deal. If the LOI does not have some of the basic stuff that I just mentioned, right, in passing here, it does not strike confidence in the person reading it or in the broker, right? That broker, hopefully, if you get a good broker, say for instance, it's your first offer and it doesn't look so good, that broker should tell you, hey, listen, man, you may want to do X, Y, Z if you expect to win this deal, right? A good broker will tell you that kind of stuff. That's what you're paying for, right? That's what you're paying for. But this is a case where you want to build confidence that they believe that you can get the deal done, right? You can get the deal done. And if you don't follow standard procedures, if you're putting in a 90-day to finance, 60 days of due diligence, $5,000 of earnest money, and you're creeping up to the number that they're asking for, there's no reason why they're going to think that you're going to get the deal done, and you're going to lose that deal. You're just going to waste it. To them, you're a waste of my time. I'm not selling it to you. As a matter of fact, you upset me so much, I won't even entertain your deal anymore. That's what you want to try to avoid, right? You want to avoid that, right? And generally speaking, you look in the market and you look to see what's going on. If, maybe it's instead of 1% down for earnest money, maybe it's 2% earnest money. It depends on where it is. I don't know where most of you guys are calling from, but if you're like, say if you're in California, for instance, right? If some of you guys are calling from California or Seattle, it could sometimes be very, very competitive out there. Some people are putting down like 2% hard money immediately. Some people are doing stuff like that. I wouldn't do that, honestly, but other people are. They're putting down that kind of money, right? So so keep in mind that everything I'm telling you, you need to assess what's going on in your local market and try to be competitive with that local market, right? And again, if you don't know what's going on in your local market, your broker will. Your broker will tell you, okay? Your broker will tell you. You can also get some of the information online too, generally, but I think your brokers are probably going to be your best bet. So what I see that really breaks the confidence level, I already touched on some of them. I'll get these offers written. So here's one. Offers written with a pen, like literally somebody picked up a Bic pen and wrote it down on a piece of paper, an offer, right? No, denied immediately, right? There's no reason for that. Everyone's got Microsoft Word. Another one is that the pricing is just way too low. Like if you're asking $2 million, and they're coming in at 1.6. I mean, it's like, no, you're not even close to the ballpark. Generally, as a rule of thumb, you want to be no more than 20% of the asking price. If you can't get that number to work, don't even bother bidding. Simple as that. Don't bid. If you can't get to the number, don't bid. Don't waste your time trying to bid and trying to convince them that your price is right. They'll figure it out. And when they do, then you can be ready for it, right? Or the terms don't make any sense either. The pricing and the terms, that immediately tells me that these guys are newbies. They don't know what they're doing. I just laugh it off. I mean, it's like these guys they'll never perform. They'll never perform, and they won't even get a shot. I'll actually tell the broker, I'm like, I'm not even going to sell to these guys. Don't even bother sending me another deal from these guys ever again. And there's one other thing too, is that I find, at least on smaller deals, on larger deals, the deals that I'm doing, I write them up on my own paper, meaning I have my logo, I have my information, I have a story about me in the LOI, so they get to know who I am, all that. Another dead giveaway is that the offer is written by the broker. Typically, the broker is not supposed to write the letter of intent, the offer. You're supposed to write the offer, and then you give it to the broker, and the broker will hand it off to the seller, right? That to me is a dead giveaway, right? Where do you find an LOI? There's plenty of them online. They're all over the place. You can find one out there. The people that are mentees in my program, they get it automatically. They get the LOI that I use. My LOI, the way that I structure it, and again, I don't want to go too far off the path here, but I instill confidence with my letter of intent because I structure it to look like a actual legal document, even though it's not, right? So it's just a letter of intent, but it looks credible, looks real, right? Everything from the font I used, the logo, all of it looks like it's an actual, real, honest to goodness program looks like a legal document. It looks credible, looks real. That's what you want to do. You want your stuff to look real, right? So that leads me into when you do put your offer together, right? You're going in with your best offer. Don't lowball. Go in with your best offer. I mean, hey, listen, there's a deal that I did. A broker calls me up, and it was a small deal. It was a 96 unit deal. They threw out an offer, and I'm like, oh, what do they want? They want 3 million. I run my numbers. Done. 3 million, no problem. Here you go. Well, actually, I asked the broker, like, what's important to them. I asked the same thing. What's important to them? What do they need? What do they want? Do they need to close? What's the deal? No, it's family. They just want to unload the property. Great. Here you go. All 3 million. Done. No problem. Easy. Done. You got to be easy to work with. Easy to work with, right? I think for many of you guys out there right now, if you're looking at different markets, what you're finding is some of these deals are priced way too high. Okay. And I know they are. I know they're priced super high right now. Sometimes you have to keep an eye on them. You got to be patient with them. You just can't, you don't want to be the low baller guy. It's the last thing you want to be known as the low baller. Put your best offer out there though. Don't try to work your way up to a number. Now, if they are asking, like, say for instance, if there's a bid situation, okay. And I'm not sure if you guys are doing any of those deals right now where there's a lot of competition, right? Typically I'll call the broker up and say, hey, when are bids due? So in our case, let's say the bids are due October the 1st. Okay, great. So I'll call up Gary, the broker. I say, hey man, how's it going? You got any offers yet? What are they coming in at? Sometimes they'll disclose, sometimes you won't, right? But I'll find out where the offers are falling, right? I'll try to anyway. I'll talk to other brokers. I'll ask other brokers, hey, what do you know about that deal over there in Euclid? Tell me a little bit about it. Like, are you talking to any of your clients bidding on it? That kind of thing. And sometimes people will talk, right? And if I discover that, people are coming in at like 20 million or whatever, and I know that I can make the deal work at say 25 million, I'll go in at 25 million. I'll wait till close to the end when the bids are due. I'll go in a little higher but I'll know that the number works at that rate. So the intent is not to go ahead and try to squeeze them out or whatever. If the value is there and you can make the numbers work, bid what they want, give them what they want. Don't do any of this retrading stuff, which really makes people upset. All right. Do you guys know what retrading is?
No.
No? Anyone know what retrading is? No. All right. Good. I know, because I'm doing a lot of talking, right? I'm just talking straight through this thing.
I got a question.
Everybody just staring at me. Yeah, go ahead.
The question I had, a lot of these books you read, well, I don't know if anybody else had this experience, but they'll tell you about off-market deals. Yeah. Right. And what I hear you really saying is that, as a practical matter, you need to go through a broker which is on market. Yeah. Right. Well,
no, not always, Dennis. Not always, Dennis.
Okay.
Brokers have access to the deals, right? They know where the deals are. So when you're building your team all right, which is close to the beginning of building your career, your brokers are going to be part of your team, right? So by the time you're talking to the broker, conceivably, you already have your property manager, you have your accountant, you have your attorney, you have all that stuff, right? So by the time you're calling on that broker, you already have some background. Like you'll already get past that conversation, and now they're willing to work with you. Because remember, a broker has got to be willing to work with you, and if the broker knows. Yeah, so the broker knows that, okay, this Dennis guy's for real here. He just needs a deal. Then they'll work with you. That's how you get your deal.
So my understood. I got you. So my question was, have you had, is there any merit, if you will, to, finding deals off market, if you will? A lot of the books, that's what they say, all the different strategies or tactics one uses outside of a broker. Is that BS in your experience?
You mean like sending letters out and stuff like that?
All that.
Yeah, I don't do any of that stuff, man.
Gotcha.
I don't do that. No. Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
Listen, the brokers are the keys to the deals. The brokers are the keys. They got like all the deals I'm telling you about right now, all those deals I showed you earlier.
Brokers.
All of them with the exception of my very, very first one. My very first one in Ohio anyway was all brokers. And the only reason why I got that first 11 unit deal was because that broker put it in the wrong place. She put it on the residential MLS. I just happened to be on the residential MLS and I see this 11 unit and I'm like, what the hell is this doing here? This shouldn't be here. So I looked at it, I got it, and I added a unit, and it's a beast of a deal. It's awesome. I got a really, really good deal on it, and it worked out tremendously. It worked out great. So, but yeah, I mean, typically it's the broker. The broker's got the deals.
Okay.
Would you consider it a waste of time to search for off market, or should that not be a part of a strategy, or your business strategy at all, or mission?
How do you it depends how you search for an off market. Like how are you doing it these days?
Well, letters.
Yeah, letters. No, don't even waste your time. Have you got any phone calls from any letters?
Well, not for multifamily, not for anything more than 2 or 3 unit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, exactly. For the stuff, because I know you're doing some wholesaling stuff, right? Like
I'm doing wholesaling, and then I have subject to stuff like that. But
that strategy works best with doing that type of asset, like doing those smaller assets, because you from a marketing perspective, you are positioning yourself as a helper to get those people out of a situation. Right. So it's different. It's a different play here. That's why it doesn't work. Right. That's why it doesn't work. Right. I mean, listen, if I got 100 units, I might be in a situation. I could be, but probably not. I mean, you really have to mess up 100 units to get that thing screwed up. I mean, you really have to ignore it. I mean, it's like you're almost doing stuff on purpose to mess it up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can give some perspective.
Sure.
I've been at this for quite a while, and for anything from 5 to 50 is most common. You might have some luck with the direct owner sale. 50 to 100 is kind of a maybe. Anything past 100 units, I think it's a gross waste of your time and effort and marketing dollars to go after guys with those deals. Was one, guys like myself that's own hundreds of units that get letters in the mail from those guys. They're already experienced. Guys like Agostino experienced. They already know what you're doing. They're not. You're not solving a problem basically. And you got to reach out to the mom and pop operators, the guys who've had the smaller units over time. They own it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they're ready to sell. You might have some luck with those guys, but if you're reaching out, another thing too is wholesaling apartment complexes is just about a dead end street. I'm not saying there aren't guys out there who's come across a deal and they flipped it over to somebody, but as a business model, that's a very bad model to go after. So that's just my long-term perspective on those. So anything over 100 units, just you're wasting your time.
Yeah. And by the way, Paul, as much as I'm not crazy about doing small deals, right? I started off doing small deals. I'm sure like many of these other guys in my space, you know, and when I say small, I had single family and the duplexes and all that stuff. And I started trading up, right?
Right.
The best advice I can give you on all that is if you're going to do that, to start small, like get in, build it up, and like duplexes work out fine usually, right? I find that if you start getting in the 12 to about 50 units, maybe not even 12, maybe like 20 to 50, for whatever reason, those ones seem to be tougher to run. And I don't know why, right? Anything less, it's easier, and anything more is easier. But right in the middle there is very tough.
It's a scale thing, Augustine.
Yeah,
It's
scale.
there's property. If you have 5 to 15 or 20 units, you can effectively manage that yourself. By the time you get to 50, that's not a large enough property for a property management company to really help you out in any sort of efficient
Right.
way, even though you probably would have to have them. But you trying to manage it yourself is just you know, you fall into the typical category of that landlord guy that nobody wants to be. You know, you hear the horror stories. Oh, I got into real estate, and I hated it because I had to go fix something every other day. That's
Yeah.
what you're running through with there. So that's why.
That's exactly it. That's exactly
Yeah.
it.
So
But,
so that's why it's a scale thing. So usually by the time you got to get to a minimum of 75 before you can barely make the property management system work. So that's why most guys say, do 100 or more, because that's your benchmark for scaling to allowing third-party asset managers or property managers and things like that to help you out. So
yeah.
but you will learn a lot on those smaller units. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's the thing, and that's why it's like I often tell people, it's like, hey, listen, if you really want to do it, do the small ones, fine, but like get in, get out. Don't hold on to them for years. Try to get in, make some money off of them, sell them off, do it again. Why? Because it's showing that it's building up that muscle memory, and it's building up your experience, right? You get to use your experience.
I don't know if y'all can you hear me?
Yeah, Earl.
Hey, how you doing? I'm new
Good,
to
man.
the group. My name is Earl. I'm out of Cleveland, Ohio. So I do a little wholesaling myself, and I just came across a 10 unit not too long ago. But I was cold calling the seller, and he told me he wasn't selling his house, but he had a 10 unit he was interested in selling. So I really don't know too much about commercial, but I researched 10 units going in that building. I mean, in an area. They was going around like 469, and he was telling me he was looking to get like 400 for it. So I'm not sure.
400 for 10 units.
Yeah.
40,000 a door.
What are the rents at? What's the average rent?
I think 750.
750.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. That ain't bad.
That's not. No, where's it located?
It's like on Lorraine, on the like 118th in Lorraine.
Okay. Huh.
So yeah. So if anybody want to help me out, I'm not a buyer myself. I'm looking to wholesale.
Actually, that's not far from my house. I don't know it, and but I live in Lakewood.
So if anybody that's looking to partner up with me, and maybe
that's something I would take a look at.
Okay.
I mean, you guys go ahead and connect. The biggest issue you're going to find, and again, I don't want to digress here. The biggest issue you're going to have on doing a deal like that, like doing a small deal, is the financing aspect, right? You're going to have the issue with the financing here. The smaller deals are higher risk. To a lender, small deals, anything like less than $1 million, is a high risk deal. So when you underwrite, you got to underwrite at like 5.25 almost. I mean, go underwrite high. And if you're able to get a better rate, super great. I mean, there's deals above $10 million. I can get 2.75%. What does that tell you where the risk is, right? I mean, if it's above if it's above 10 million, it's 2.75. As a matter of fact, I just got off a phone just before this meeting on a development deal. All right. Development is high risk, right? Way high risk. 5.25%. That's cheaper than doing your $600,000, whatever it is deal. It's ridiculous. But I mean, those small deals are high risk. they're high risk. So anyway, you can, Earl,
How do we exchange numbers without boring everybody up?
I think you guys can message each other. You guys should be able to message each other. Yeah.
Okay.
You said
So-
Earl?
Yeah, Earl
Yeah,
Penn.
my name Earl Penn.
Yeah, go ahead and message each other.
I'm going
for
into
sure.
the chat. Can you see the chat, Earl?
Driving at the moment, but as soon as I pull over, I'll be able to see it.
All right, then I'll put my number here if anybody else wants to
Good,
connect
good.
as well. I'm gonna put it on
Yeah.
the chat, everybody. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put my number up there also.
Yeah,
I
good.
appreciate
Earl,
it.
what the hell? Just give me your number real quick since we're on the roll.
All right, it's 440
Yeah.
499
Okay.
4225.
All right, I'll just call you afterwards. I don't want to get everybody
Yeah,
messed up.
yeah.
Sorry
So-
for the
so-
interruption.
No, don't worry about it. Hey, part of this is, collaboration. I want you guys to collaborate. I want you guys to get deals done, right? So, anyway, we'll keep rolling here. So, I touched on this earlier. If this deal works out, Earl, and you guys connect up and you guys get a deal running, you got to be easy. All right.
Okay.
Don't be a jerk. Don't be stupid. Be easy. You got to be easy to work with. Be quick. Be responsive. If the guy calls you up and they say, here's the deal, or whatever, great. Respond as quickly as possible with some good answers. Right.
Okay.
One of the biggest mistakes that newbies do. Right. They get an offer. They get a deal. You know what? Then it goes into the abyss somewhere. They never get a response back. All right.
Right.
Instant newbieism. That's my
August,
new word. I'm going to copyright that. Newbieism.
I can tell you something.
That's one of my problems.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ernest. What's that?
I can tell you also too, with addition to what Agostino said, is transparency. Don't be afraid to just be honest about it. If if it's your first deal, tell them straight up, hey, this is my first deal. I know what I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm trying to find. I want to try to, serve your needs while I'm serving mine. That makes a great deal, when everybody benefits. And just be honest with them and let them know, don't try to be something you're not, because that certainly it will catch up with you quick. And anybody who has any knowledge will know it right off the bat. So just be honest about it, because the more honest you are, and somebody who knows more than you, they tend to want to help people that that know less than you. So that's just be transparent.
Yeah.
Well, just to give y'all a little background, the guy, this is his first building he ever bought. And he bought it last year. He did a lot of upgrades to it. And I guess something happened overseas with his family, and he needed to get the money so he could pay his family back. So
Okay.
that was the story I was told.
Well, good. Well, when you are putting your deal together, okay, let's say you guys hit it off or whatever, start, do your background on that deal in terms of due diligence, but you're going to want to try to do a quick due diligence and a quick time to close, right? So generally in Cleveland anyway, 30-day, it used to be before all this COVID stuff, 30-day due diligence, 30-day to close, right? Before you document any offer to these guys, make sure you have your lender in order, talk to the lender about it, get an idea as to what they're tracking in terms of close times. If it's taking 45 days to close, just say, hey, listen, we're going to try to do it in 30 days, but we may need a 2-week extension, or whatever, right? Be ready to put that in your offer, right? But know it up front, all right? But a third thing, this third thing requires some guts about being easy, right? If you want to remove the financing contingency, and what that means is that if you're going to close this deal come hell or high water. If you don't get the financing, you're going to find financing somewhere, right? That takes guts to do that. It takes guts to do that. Like all my stuff, I don't have any financing contingency. When I did the Rockefeller building, I removed the financing contingency. These guys are like, damn, this guy's got some guts to do a deal like this, right? You know what I'm saying? So, but that's what I did, right? I wanted that deal. I was sure I wanted that deal. There was no way out. I have to close that deal.
Would you recommend that for newbies though? I mean, your experience, you got your team in place, you know what the hell you're doing.
And you know what? I'll tell you what, man, if you want that deal, if you want it really bad, like if you know, you got to know that you want the deal. That's the key, man. I mean, you really have to commit to doing that deal. If you want that deal, you're going to find a way to get it done. Right. That's the key. That's why it's like, this is why when I said earlier about slamming out a bunch of LOIs, nobody's going to take you seriously. But if there's that deal, let's say for instance, that you partner up with Earl and this is a good deal. You know for sure that it's a good deal. Like, you know, in here that it's a good deal that you want to take on. You're going to do whatever it takes to get it. So what does that mean? Sure, you'll have one lender lined up. Maybe you have a second. Maybe you have a backup lender, right? Or maybe you have even a third lender. I mean, I have a whole stable of lenders that I can turn to get a deal done, right? I have hard money guys that can get a deal done. Whatever the case may be, the point is that you really, really got to be sure. That's probably the biggest hang up. You know that, man? It's like people will say,
wouldn't
like,
it be a case of, Augustine, wouldn't it be a case of where you go into the deal and you think about not only just that you're sure, you know, have surety of you know, prospect of the deal itself, but just from what you were talking about earlier is appealing to the seller. You know, what do they want? Is what can you remove? What can you remove as a roadblock? So anything that's a roadblock, if you can remove it, then try to do your best to remove it, because the more contingencies you have, obviously you lower your chances of getting that deal. So it's a relative risk and, you know, risk reward balance and performance.
That's 100%.
You know, if you feel like if you happen to put up $20,000 as a down payment, you know, as at risk capital, and you truly can't afford to, you know, to lose that money, you're just, you know, you're doing it as a course, you know, as a matter of course, then just do it. And then if you have to lose the deal, then lose the deal. But you know, but anytime you can remove something, just think of it from that perspective, I think.
Yeah. Remember, it's not about you. It's about that seller, right? So the seller's got two offers in front of him. He's got yours and he's got mine. They look exactly the same, except mine doesn't have a contingency for financing, but yours does, right? I'm going in hot. I'm going in sure that, yeah, I will get this deal done. I'm putting up 20 grand or 30 grand or whatever it is, right, to get the deal done. You're doing the same thing, but you have a way out. I don't. I better close it or he gets my money, right? Who's you going to go with? Who would you go with?
Yeah, I get the
right?
point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, by removing those barriers gives that person that seller certainty. You got to remember, that's one of the biggest mistakes is that it's not about you, it's about the seller. How are you going to sell that seller that you're the person that needs to get that deal? That's the key. That's the key, you know? Yeah. They got to be confident in you and your ability to perform. Right. And that's another thing too. You have to be as easy as pie, you know. Don't get excitable like I do. Like right now I'm all excitable because whenever I get talking about real estate, Naomi knows this. Whenever I get talk about real estate, I get all excited because I love this stuff, right? I'm a junkie with this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But when I'm working on a deal, nice and calm, I'm chill, you know, I listen to what they're saying. Not that I don't anyway, but I reflect that back to them, right? You got to be easy. But because when it comes to be hard, then you can be hard, but you're only doing that after you get them on the hook. You got to get that seller on the hook. You got to get them committed to the deal. So, and then now you're both committed to the deal. It's on writing and you have a purchase agreement and you're set to go. But that's what you're trying to do. The end game is to get them to sign up and get them on the hook. That's what you're looking to do. Right. And you do that by removing all those barriers. And we talked a little bit about this. I think, you know, Ernest, you touched on this. There's the people that you're dealing with, they're sophisticated people. You know, the guy that has this, you know, those giant deals, I mean, they know what they're doing, but even a guy with a $3 million deal, they're sophisticated too. They know what's up. They know what they're doing. So if you want any chance of winning some of these deals, even some of these smaller ones too, you know, I know I'm talking about millions and millions of dollars. Even the guys with the $500,000 deals, whatever, they're not idiots. They know what's up. A lot of them, they've done many of these deals, right? Don't mess around, you know, don't screw around with them. Don't do the low ball thing. It only makes you look bad. And it gets you a reputation. That's probably the biggest thing. I mean, I like I said, I got especially on the small deals because right now we're getting rid of all of our small deals so we can focus on the big stuff, right? As I mentioned, I got a lot of big stuff coming on the horizon here. And there's some of these deals where they just lowball, and I'm like, I keep an eye on them now. Like if I see any other deal with their name on it, I'm probably not going to take them seriously. Right. And you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. Right. You want to get their attention is ultimately what you're looking to do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, we talked, I mentioned retrading, but we didn't finish that conversation, did we?
No.
No.
No. So, okay, good. So let's talk about retrading then. Retrading is relevant to this. Retrading is when you go in, you agree to a deal, you agree to an offer. Okay. And then they, you sign the purchase agreement, whatever. And then next thing you know, they're coming back to you 3 days or 2 days before due diligence is up, and they're saying, you know what? I'm not going to give you $2 million. I'm going to give you 1.8. Why? Because just because, right? And you start renegotiating the price. All right. That is called retrading. That is super, super bad. You're dirt if you do that. Right. That's what people think of you. They don't like that. No one likes that. So don't do that. Right. The only time you start doing that kind of thing, okay, is if there's a valid issue. Right. There's a deal that I'm working on now. The guy wanted 3 million. Fine. Done. No problem. During due diligence, we scope out the sewage lines. Right. And they replaced a lot of the sewage lines, right, with PVC. They were back. This is old property. They had the clay ceramic type of sewage lines, right? Well, there's one sewage line that was still one of those ceramic ones, and it's cracked, right? It's going to cost $12,000 to fix it. So I said to the guy, I said, hey, listen, I'm not going to reduce the price by $12,000, but I just want, can you give me a credit for the $12,000 to fix this? Because it wasn't visible when I saw it. Right. I knew about the boilers. I knew about the water tank. I knew about the roof. I knew about all the bad stuff that was wrong with it. Don't care. I'm buying this deal. I committed to doing the deal. No financing contingency. I'm doing this deal. However, I found this. Can you do something about it? The guy, okay, fine. I'll give you a credit for $8,000. Done. Easy. Simple. I didn't go back. I didn't try to squeeze him for the $4,000. No, 8,000. Fine. No problem. Easy. Great.
I think an important distinction there is making it is if you do have to retrade, it's generally over something that wasn't easily seen in the during the pre-inspection of the property or before you made your offer. If it was something that was clearly obvious that you had access to or had knowledge of, don't come back after the fact and say, oh well, the roofs are bad. Well, you knew the roofs were bad when you made the offer. Right. So that's
right. Let me ask a practical question about kind of relates to this, your due diligence. So you put together a strong offer. What is your due diligence like? In other words, because one of the things I hear you saying, you want to be easy, but you want to be intelligent, right? Yeah. So in other words, are you going back 5 times with all your contractors to do your walkthrough? Or are you going through 2 times with your contractors or just you? What's your due diligence, that part of it, that inspection look like? Or is it 20 times?
No, that's a good question. That's a good question. What I'll do is I have an inspection group that I work with. They inspect all my stuff. I've been working with the same guys for years. I try to plan out all the inspections on the same day. Again, easy, right? Why? The broker can go out there. He can schedule his time to get out there, right? The inspectors can get out there. Maybe there's, I don't know, whatever other type of people need to get out there. Like, oh, I know what it was. It was the sewage line people, for example. Like say, for instance, I'm going to do the sewage line inspection. I'll try to get those people out at the same time. So I try to do everything on the same day. Easy, easy, easy. You want to be as easy as possible, right? But that's generally what I do. And when I inspect the units, I'll usually get all of them inspected. It depends on the deal size. If I know that I'm going to be doing a lot of renovation, I'll probably just do every other unit or maybe the occupied units or whatever. But again, I'm trying to be as easy as possible because again, aside from getting the inspectors to show up, the property managers that are on site, they have to call the tenants. They got to notify the tenants 24 hours notice. They got to do all that stuff. It's a big pain to do it like 5 times, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to do that, nor do you want to. This is really irritating when people do this. they had this one group that was trying to do this, trying to play this thing on me where they wanted to do an inspection on a Saturday. Why do they want to do an inspection on Saturday, you might wonder? Right? Why would they want to do something like that? Oh, it's the only time we have available. No, it's not true.
All the tenants are home.
Exactly. So what they wanted to do was harass the tenants. Again, newbie alert, cancel the deal immediately. That's what I do. I don't care, right? I don't have time for that nonsense, right? It was on one of the smaller deals, like a 22 unit deal, you know. That's you don't want to be that guy. You want to be as easy as possible. But Dennis, it goes to what I said before, right? Where you asked about the financing contingency thing. You got to be sure you want the deal. That's ultimately what it is. That's why you got to know. You got to know that you want that deal. That's the key, right? You got to know, and you got to put up with stuff like that too, right? Absolutely
I
key.
get it. So what I hear you saying, really, in one sitting, you know, primarily, I mean, you got your team in there and you're going to look, because you know how it is with a team. You can bring them back 2 or 3 times and you'll find additional things. That's been my experience.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
But I get it. You're kind of basically saying one day, get everybody scheduled, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, you know what? I'll go out there the same time everyone else is out there too. I always walk the property before I make an offer. I always walk the property. I know what I'm getting into ahead of time, right? I go in, like I don't make blind offers to a deal. I just don't do that. I walk the property. I know the area. I'll do a research on the area. I understand where it is before I even go out there, what I'm doing. Then I'll say, yeah, okay, I'll take a look at it. I go out there, I walk the property, I look at the boilers, I look at the water tanks, I look at the roofs, all the major high ticket item stuff. I mean, this one deal, the boilers were built. I'm sorry, the boilers were installed the same year it was built, in the 60s, right? 1962 or something. That's how old these boilers were, right? And they're gigantic, they're inefficient, you know, and of course the landlord pays the heat, big bucks, right? I knew that. I have to budget for it. I budgeted like, I think like $100K to fix all the boilers, to replace all of them and put in, like, I'm going to put the wall mount ones in there. It's going to be a lot less expensive to run it in the wintertime, right? I'm going to take care of that once we get possession of the property. But I know it. I saw it. You know, it's nothing new, right? And then, of course, the inspectors will point out the same stuff. They might point out additional things, but I mean, I usually go there again when the inspectors are out there.
You guys use Dax with Heritage?
No, Anthony Perry.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So do you?
That's your inspection company?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Earl, go ahead.
Do you suggest to walk every single unit?
You know, it depends on the deal, right? You know, and here's the thing: the issue with those reports. If the group is very thorough, they were literally on, like I say, Earl, you're talking about a 10-unit deal, right? Like a little 10-unit deal, right? They will hand you but they'll hand you a 200-page document that you have to go through, right? So you better be ready to go through a lot of information, right? Be ready to go through a lot of information.
See, the guy, he's managing it himself, so a lot of the questions I was asking him, he act like he didn't even have the information for me. So
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
Probably don't.
it probably doesn't. Yeah, a lot of those, a lot of the mom and pop type scenarios, which are, you know, the smaller ones, you're gonna find that the books are not so good. There's no track record in terms of how the rents are. They don't even track like how if they're in arrears with the rents. You're going to find that a lot.
Now, he said he had a rent book. That's one thing he did say he had, was a rent book where he kept
rent
track
book?
of.
What's a rent book?
I guess it was a receipt book that every time somebody came to pay the rent, he would mark it down in the book or whatever. So,
Yeah.
It sounds like his version of an income statement.
No, I think it's his version of a rent roll. It's because it's the receipt thing. You got the little yellow receipts.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So I was asking about, you know, the insurance, asking about different stuff, and he really didn't have an accurate number for each individual thing.
Well, and you just don't rely on anything he has to say, and you just have to do your own pro forma based on your real assumptions and what actual costs are going to be. I bought properties that were 60% occupied, and everything they gave me was basically worthless because it wasn't gonna apply to the property after I bought it. So you're just gonna have to figure it out. You're gonna have to create a pro forma on what it should be after you buy it, and what repairs you're gonna have to make and back into it, whatever metric of return you want to make off of it.
Yeah, that's
So
the exact reason why those small deals are high risk, because very rarely, and Earl pointed this out, or Ernest pointed this out earlier, is that there's not enough meat on the bone to pay for proper property management. And a good property manager is going to have the technology and the people in place to manage the asset, manage it like a business, because that's exactly what it is. It's a business. If your business was run, like imagine if you had a retail shop and all the way they're tracking their sales was on little pieces of paper, the business is going to go out of business, right? It's the same thing with these smaller properties, right? If there's no way to track the income and the expenses, you have no idea what you're getting into. So I'll tell you this, Ernest, or Earl rather, when you're looking at this deal, okay, you're going to have to plan for a 60%. This is an old property, right? It's an older deal, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
If it's in Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah, it's older.
Yeah. So what you're going to want to do is I would plan for a 60% expense ratio, heavy expense ratio. Why? Chances are you're paying for heat, you're paying for gas. Okay.
He told me he was paying all utilities.
Yeah. So maybe it might be more than that. Well, probably not electricity unless he's got the electricity separated out. Right. But
I guess he paying for everything. That's why he said the rents were so high.
Yeah, but in the Midwest, typically because of these older properties that cost more money to run, you're looking at 60%. And if you get it lower, super, good for you, awesome. That means you do great. But you have to try to find a way to make money in that 40%, whatever is left. It's tough to do, man. Unless you're running it yourself, it's tough to do.
Can I come in?
All right. Well, good. So, all right, I'll give you guys a quick summary here. So the three things you want to do, right? Write the deal the way they want to see the deal written. Okay. Try to keep that short time to close. Try to make your terms as good as possible, as short as possible. Given where we are today, use the option to extend. Typically 2 weeks is reasonable. If you do put that into your offers, give them something, $5,000 for every 2 weeks, for every 2 week extension, $5,000. Don't do that more than maybe 2 times. Maybe you can do 3 times. I wouldn't do any more than that. 3 is even a lot. And then the financing contingency thing, that's your magic bullet. The only reason why you're doing that is, again, because you are absolutely sure you want that deal. You got to be sure you want that deal. If you're not sure that you're ready to live with this deal through the good and the bad for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever the size of the deal is, if you're not sure, you probably shouldn't do the deal anyway, right? If you're sure about it, you will find a way to get that deal done. Okay. So another word of advice too, you just heard Earl and Dennis talking, they could be partners. They can walk out of this event here as actual business partners, right? Don't do this yourself. Get some business partners, right? Try to find someone experienced, a little more experienced than you are. Bring something to the table, and that's probably going to be your best bet, to find some experience to come along with you on that deal, and to really help you get it over the line, and try to fill in the gaps that maybe you might have, right? Getting partners is probably one of the biggest, the best pieces of advice I can offer you guys on this call right now. So get a partner. Always get a partner. Yeah. Cool. All right. Any other questions, guys?
No? I have a question.
Yeah.
This is my first time at one of these events. Do you cover all things multifamily, or do you choose a different topic every? Is this weekly or?
It's I do this every other week.
Every other week. Okay.
And it really depends, you know.
Okay.
It's usually about multifamily because I spend a lot of time with multifamily, right? So what prompted this was this offer that I just got recently, and it really irritated me. So I just decided to to do it, to cover this. And this is my contribution to the world.
This is good stuff. Yeah, definitely.
Right? Because listen, you know, if I'm getting these offers, and I shake my head, you know, hopefully it helps you guys out, and you can write good offers that you can win at. You know, part of it is I want to see other people succeed. I really do believe in this business. This business has given me a lot, and if there's a way that I can help you guys out by doing it, by telling you, hey, look out for this, do it that way instead, right? So I'm helping you guys out, great. But I might cover, like, I think the next one might be on triple net leases. That's a different line of business altogether. But that really involves like buying a single tenant lease, like a Starbucks, for instance, right? Those are typically not owned by Starbucks Corporation. An individual owns the store, owns the physical asset, and they just lease it back to Starbucks, right? What that means is, like, you know, do you think Starbucks is going to go anywhere tomorrow, Dennis? Starbucks is going to stick around, right?
I think
Of course not. Yeah. So it's like that money is virtually guaranteed. It comes in every month, right? It's not as rich, so to speak, as multifamily. You don't get those big bumps like when you do the value add thing and all that. However, one thing you do get is steady income. So that typically people do that kind of stuff when they build up a portfolio of multifamily, you know. So for many people that might be on the call, they may not be ready for it, but at least put it in your mind. You'll get to understand how it works. So when you do get to that point, you'll be ready for it. You'll understand it, right? But the triple net thing is a phenomenal way of building steady, super steady and predictable cash flow. Right. Very, very predictable cash flow. Right. So that's a whole other discussion. I'll probably cover in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. If you guys haven't been to the YouTube channel yet, the Bulletproof Cash Flow YouTube channel, go ahead, subscribe to there. I got tons of other stuff up there too, man. I mean, I got tons of stuff up there. So go ahead and check that out. All right.
Okay.
Cool beans.
All right,
Awesome.
thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Agostino.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.